The June 2024 protests really shook the political class in the Kenya Kwanza government, and it hit them hard and very unaware. During that time, all over the country, in the northeastern, in coastal region, in Nyanza, in Central, in Nairobi, and even marginalized places like Turkana, all these protests were held. And the young people were demanding for the rejection of the finance bill and later for good governance. Since then, we have seen very many political changes and very many activity in the political scene, where we have seen reshuffling of cabinet secretaries, even the impeachment of the former deputy Rigathi Gashagwa. Rigathi Gashagwa came out and blamed the NIS boss Nordin Haji for not providing the necessary intelligence so that the government could have handled this differently. He said that he must resign and take responsibility of those deaths.
I want to say that Nordin Haji must take responsibility for the deaths that occurred. He must take responsibility for the mayhem. He must take responsibility for failing President William Ruto. He must take responsibility for failing the government of the Republic of Kenya. He must take responsibility for failing the Kenyan nation by not doing his job and advising correctly. And he must do the honorable thing, not just take responsibility, but resign from that office and allow the president to pick a competent director general. I want to request President William Ruto to consider, as a matter of urgency, to recall the 3 directors who are removed from the service and the 13 assistant directors to come and help reconstruct the service and get sanity back to the National Intelligence Service to serve the president, the government, and the people of Kenya. President William Ruto deserves better. He deserves a director general who knows what he's doing. He deserves a National Intelligence Service that is effective and that can analyze situations and keep him and the government informed on what is going on. It is embarrassing to me as Deputy President that it has taken protests, deaths, mayhem, destruction for the President to know the truth, yet there is an organization charged with that responsibility.
Rigathi Gachagua was then blamed for those protests, for financing the protests, and this led for his impeachment. While on this, the KDF, the military, was deployed into the streets to help not overthrow the government, since the government believed that someone was trying to overthrow the government, the current government, and take over. Raila Odinga has come out to say that indeed he saved the current government and Ruto from a military coup.
Unasema Ruto aende. Aende alafu nani ifanyike? Mbele pale Ruto aende aweke Gachagua.
And with the recent development at Nyayo Stadium in Naivasha during the rally, where people were chanting Ruto Must Go, the government then is now in fear of someone trying to overthrow the government. And the NIS boss, Nordin Haji, and the head of military have come forward to warn anyone who tries to overthrow the government using unconstitutional ways. They say that they are going to defend the constitution. And the Ministry of Defense Finance Tuya came forward to deny Raila Odinga claims that someone to overthrow the government using the military, saying that the military is very disciplined and it was deployed to help the government de-escalate the situation.
On the instances of the deployment of KDF, under the Article 2413B, which speaks to the collaboration between KDF and other security agencies. An example of this deployment is the Operation Maliza Uhalifu in the North Rift, as well as the North and Eastern Region operation. And of course, of keen interest is the deployment of June 25th, which again falls under Article 2413B, where KDF was deployed to offer support to the National Police Service to deal with the unrest that the country went through at that point.
With these remarks, the NIS and the CDF have been forced to come forward to say that the intelligence they do is undercover and it's not to be shouted out like that. That questioning the intelligence is very wrong and should not be tolerated. They claim that, and they send a warning to anyone who tries to overthrow the government that they must do it constitutionally, that the government, the current government, was elected by the people, and therefore they can only be removed through the constitutional mandate.
It is not easy to be able to enumerate the various threats that Kenya faces. However, we must remember that intelligence work, by its very nature, cannot always be loud. It cannot always explain itself. And yet, in a democratic state, silence must never be mistaken for impunity. We understand that in this age of instant information and digital noise, people demand to know. They want details, they want timelines, they want names. The NIS now operates at the intersection of multi-domains that has a holistic view of the state's well-being. Yet, at its core, intelligence exists to safeguard Kenya's national security, protect the fabric of our society, and ensure the safety of our people.
It is worth noting that the NIS has been accused of conducting illegal abductions, detention and killings of Kenyans who have come forward to fight this government, with the current one being Justin Muturi, the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service, saying that his son was released by Nordin Haji after the president told him to.
Inafanyika vizuri, nini. Some of the things is that there is tolerance. We understand we are Kenyans first. And this is something that Kenyans will need to come to terms with, that unless we love our country first, we will soon have no country, and there's no spare. So we can't have anarchy in the country, first and foremost. And as people exercise their rights, it should be within limits and within bounds, such that we cannot allow us to exercise our rights to the extent of tearing apart the country. So this issue of how politics goes and all that, and by the way, the military, one of the core values is that we are apolitical. We don't support any political side. We defend the Constitution.
With these remarks from the Commander of Defense Forces, Charles, then one would ask, if you are defending the Constitution, and the Article 1 of the Constitution says that all sovereignty power belongs to the people, and the people shall exercise these rights, whether directly or indirectly, using representatives who are voted for. If the people feel that this government they voted for is no longer serving them, then they might want to exercise their rights directly. Is that wrong? Should you defend that Constitution then? Or maybe, is this the government trying to threaten people and intimidate people who would want to air their views by practicing their rights? This is their right to protest. And Kenyans have not backed down. They are saying that Ruto truly must go. What do you think about this? And do you think that Kenyans should be allowed to practice their rights?
Hakuna mchezo raundi tuko na nyinyi.